What's up, guys? It's Wade from Was Gaming, and I'm coming back at you with another Warhammer 40k Tacticus video. How is everybody doing, guys? It's been a minute since I've done a video for Tacticus. Just got caught up, had some family down for the holidays. They were down for the week for Thanksgiving, and didn't have anything pre-recorded. And I had people staying in my recording area, so was unable to get any videos out. Apologize about that. Lesson learned. I need to get better at pre-recording stuff so that I can have content when stuff like that happens. But it is what it is. Fortunately for me, though, there wasn't a lot of big news or any, breaking stories I had to get to on Tacticus. I guess you could say that the Tau being announced was kind of a big thing, but, we didn't see any kind of hints on what kind of units and stuff we're going to get, so there really wasn't much to talk about. With that being said, we did just get a big update for the game, and that's what I'm going to cover in this video. There's a lot of important changes that have been made to characters, and then we have, some new content stuff that's being added. So I wanted to just cover all that stuff. This is, a pretty big update, pretty important update. So with that, let's jump into it. So first thing first, we do have the Tau Empire that's been announced. I was a little disappointed and then also intrigued by that choice. Right now we still have an imbalance in the game with factions. So what this will do, the Tau will add another Xenos faction, which will bring the Xenos up to 4, Imperial up to 4, and then Chaos is really lagging behind now with 2. I was thinking the next faction was going to be a Chaos. What I think happened here was they did this survey and they wanted to just right away show people that the survey wasn't for nothing and said, hey, Tau was by far the number 1. Let's just give them Tau now and we can make up for the, deficiencies on the Chaos side of stuff coming up. So I do think this pretty much guarantees that the next faction is Chaos. It'll be interesting to see what faction they decide to go with. I think the number 1 Chaos in the poll was, what was it? Thousand Suns. So, that'll be interesting. I think that'll be a cool faction when they get to that. But obviously we're a little ways away from that. Coming in next, they added elite battles. So, the Indominus campaign has elite battles, 1 through 16 now. So that'll be interesting. On this account, I unfortunately am nowhere near being able to do those elite battles. On my main, I'm on iOS, and the update hasn't come through yet, so I haven't been able to check those out yet. But if anything, it's more areas to farm equipment and stuff that you need to level up your characters, and it should also be more areas for you to farm up character pieces. So that'll be cool. Next, we have new guild raid bosses. So they added Zarek, the Silent King. I'm not even going to try to pronounce all this stuff. I'm not super familiar with the current 40k lore, so I'm not exactly sure who this is, but this kind of seems like Necron stuff, so I'm going to guess it's Necron. So we'll have a new guild raid boss. That'll be interesting. I don't know whether this is just going to fully replace the guild boss that we have, or that you could do the Tyrannid or the Necron, or, there's something you work at the same time. You can hit both bosses, or they rotate. We'll find out more as we see this. But that's cool. New guild content. Still waiting on the guild-to-guild battles. Hopefully that eventually becomes a thing. But for now, new guild modes. They're showing us the next character, Morgan Ra, Phoenix Lord of the Dark Reapers, unlocked in the new Path of the Phoenix event starting on December 4th. The guys in my guild were kind of talking about this, and I think I can kind of shed some light on this, guys. You're going to be able to unlock this character in this next event. I'm, 99.9% sure that this event is just going to work like the other event. The other 3 events we've had for the Eldari characters so far. Now, some of you might not have noticed this, but when we did the last character, it originally unlocked at uncommon level, even though it is a rare unit. So I think what this is going to be the same type of thing. Even though this character is going to be a legendary character, I think as you're doing this Path of the Phoenix event, you're going to be able to unlock him at a much lower level, maybe rare level. Um, and so you will get this character. Now, whether you can get it ranked up to legendary for free or not, that's up, that depends on how grindy the quest is and how well you do on it. My guess is it's gonna fall in line probably somewhere with the rest of them, where you end up with the character unlocked at like elite 2-star, somewhere around there, maybe push into 3-star, so maybe just under legendary unless you put some money into the game. But still, you're gonna have this character for free, and I think his legendary status will just be once he gets into the requisition pools. Um, then you'll pull him as legendary there. But I don't worry, guys. I think we're getting this character. I'm like I said, 99% sure that we're gonna be able to just farm this character like we did all the other Eldari characters. You just probably won't get him unlocked at a legendary level. But still, pretty cool. New quest events: Death Guard, Bastillion, and then Calandus we're getting. So these are the, twice a month quests that we get, the same as like we had with Roswitha and then, Thaddeus, and I think, what was it, Volk last 2 weeks ago, something like that. So this is just going to be those same type of quests, guys, where you can get pieces for the character. Or I guess the last one was Roswitha. The one before that was Volk. But yeah, you're just going to be able to get, a couple pieces for the characters, and get badges and stuff like that, and help you kind of level those characters up if they're low level. Just as like always, we have another live arena coming up December 1st and 22nd. Again, these are like our rotating events at this point. 1 week we have this, the next week we have live arena. So should be, pretty much the same. Live arena, no big shakeups there. This is new. Guild leaders that are inactive for 30 days will automatically be demoted to co-leaders, and the officer who has been playing the longest will be promoted to leader. This is a nice little thing that can help some of the guilds that maybe the leadership has become inactive, but the guild itself is still an active guild. So this will be a nice little change. This is a big change. This next change is a big change. If you've been playing since launch, or if you put a little bit of money into the game, the Onslaught, adding 6 sectors to each lane. So if you guys haven't reached the end of Onslaught, right now with how the game currently is, if you hit the highest level of Onslaught, you can replay that level, but you only get XP for Onslaught. So you lose the ability to get badges, upgrade badges, and character shards, and all of that stuff that you could in Onslaught. So them adding six more sectors is huge. That means a lot more. As you can see, it's 108 battles. So this isn't 6 more battles in each lane. It's 6 more sectors in each lane. So actually, if we go look at Onslaught real quick, go over here, go down to Onslaught. What this means for Onslaught is each one of these is a sector, guys. So it's 3 more battles. And I think these as you get higher up, it's more battles. So they added a bunch of sectors here, so it's a bunch more battles to continue to, get yourself badges and stuff, which is important, because without that, that's pretty much the main place you hit. Get badges and upgrade materials for your characters. So that is a big deal. Really, really big deal. All right. They added 10 more power levels, so that's your total level. If you guys hadn't known this, the game currently capped out at 34, regardless of how much higher you got. And when power levels, we're talking about this level right here. Okay, so they added another 10, so the highest level you can get now is 44. So a nice little change there. Basically, just when you level up, you got a nice little chest that got you requisition and stuff. So there's just more opportunities for that stuff. Now, the balancing changes. This is where this update really gets interesting. I mean, everything above is really important, and some of it's really, really cool. But in my opinion, this is pretty big changes that were made. So the Tyranid primes no longer blocked. Right now, they're still trying to tweak these Tyranid primes. Originally, it was sold to people as, hey, this is something that your lower level guildmates can hit and have them still feel like they were competing. You're not competing, but helping the guild. They were just too hard. It was pointless to even bother hitting them. Even higher level guilds, it was pointless. So I think they're trying to work on a way to make that easier. So the first thing was they stopped the Tyranid primes from being able to block. I still don't think this really solves anything, because once you got to like epic and legendary, the bosses and stuff, they were hitting so hard that they were one-shotting like even pretty built characters. So obviously lower level guildmates aren't going to have characters that high of level. I still think they're just going to get wiped off the board before they can really do any damage, but hopefully that helps a little bit. Alright, so now we get into the character changes. So Angrax, plus 10 health, 10% health, plus 50% armor. So obviously Angrax, if you've been playing this game, you know he's one of the worst characters in the game. This helps, but I don't think it really fixes him. It makes him more tanky, which makes sense because he's in Terminator armor. He should have been more tanky in the first place, but he's still only speed 2. His teleport in is deep strike. Sorry, his deep strike is more of a disadvantage than it is an advantage. I still don't think this fixes him, but at least it should make him a little bit less of a liability when you're trying to complete the Fall of Cadia campaign. I don't think it does anything to like change the meta or make him, worthy of use anywhere besides that campaign. I guess there's a little slight use with him in Onslaught, and maybe this makes him more useful in Onslaught. If you didn't know, you can stage him in between 2 of the spawn points where the Tyranids spawn in, and because of his passive, when they spawn in and move out of that spot, he can swipe them and do damage to them. I think higher in Onslaught, it's not that big of a deal, though, unless you've really invested in him, which you shouldn't. So a nice little change to maybe make that campaign easier, but does it fix Angrax and make him an overall more useful character? I don't really think so. Typhus, this is a decent one. More health, more damage, more armor, and then Plague Wind, so his active ability, 80% more damage. I think some of the legendaries felt like they just weren't that great. If you watched my arena video, you saw how, a couple of them were like C tier. I think some of them compared to some of the other ones just weren't that good. Typhus being, in my opinion, at the time, the worst of the legendaries. This is definitely a step up. And, I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing him a little bit more in arena, just because, he got a big buff. He was already Death Guard, so Death Guard was already kind of tanky. So he got a big buff in health and, a smaller buff in armor. But then he got a base damage buff, and then 80% damage increase on his active is actually really, really massive. So we'll see how that plays out, and if that makes him more of a threat in arena and stuff. But on paper, that looks like a pretty big upgrade. Now you're going to see a theme here. Basically, all of the Death Guard, except for the dude with the bell, Corodius or whatever his name is, got a buff to health and armor, and they all kind of got the same buff. 20% health, 50% armor. Looks like Postillion got 22% health. So they're just making them more and more tanky. Again, same kind of thing I was saying with Angrax. I don't really think that helps them that much. Maybe they're getting them ready for a campaign, and maybe thought they were a little too squishy for a campaign. But the big problem I find with most of the Death Guard units is they're just slow. Speed 2 sucks. So I don't think any of these changes make them, again, more viable in arena or anything like that. Just maybe if they get a campaign, this helps them be better in campaign. Rotbone did also get an increase on his passive. It says plus 75% health. So if you're not familiar with his passive, it has a auto heal when stuff dies near him. The first time it dies near him, it'll auto heal, and it'll auto heal with a certain amount of health. This just means overall each of those heals is going to have 75% more health, which is decent. All right, coming in next, we've got Brother Burchard. So he's the dude in aggressor armor with the rocket launcher on his back. Again, I like his buffs. I don't think it fixes him, unfortunately, though. Right? He was already pretty tanky, and they gave him 20% health and 50% armor. So that's good. It's just going to make him even more tanky, which again, he's in aggressor armor, so he should be relatively tanky. But his biggest problem is that after you used his active did a bunch of damage. After he uses active, his damage was pretty much nothing. And a 29% overall damage increase, I don't think fixes that. So I don't think that's big enough of a number to make him viable. Fragstorm Grenade Launcher does more damage, so that means his active is going to be even better than it was. But he's basically, he was, before these buffs, a unit that you use as active and then he's just a tank. And most of these buffs, it's the same thing. He's going to do more damage on his active, so his active is going to hit harder. But then he's still not going to do a lot of damage with his regular hits. Now, they did also give him more damage on his passive, which is basically, I think it's like a 40% chance when he hits, he can deal damage to units around the target. Again, overall, his biggest issue is that he doesn't do enough damage, and he's only speed 2. Again, all these guys, speed 2 is also a big deal. For me, he remains pretty much the same as Bellator in late arena. Bellator really falls off in late arena because while he's super tanky, he does no damage. This guy is the same thing, except instead of having a nice speed 4, he's only speed 2. Again, his active will hit like a truck, and maybe that makes him enough to build for arena offense, because a lot of times you let the enemy come to you on the first turn of arena offense, and maybe his active will hit enough to make up for the fact that he will do literally not literally, but will basically do no damage after that, and will be pretty much useless for the rest of the fight. Maybe, but I don't know. I doubt it. There's already units that do what he kind of does with his active, but are better, and I don't think this changes that. Calgar probably got the best buff. So Rites of Battle, 200 base extra damage. So I believe Rites of Battle is, and then minus 20% extra damage if Imperial. So let's go pull Calgar up real quick. I think that's his active. Rites of Battle. No. Okay. Rites of Battle is adjacent friendly units do this. So basically, now adjacent friendly units are going to deal a lot more base damage, but the Imperial side of it took less. We'll still do more, but it'll do less compared to. So basically, they increased the base by 200 and then lowered how much the Imperial does by a little bit. Which makes him better after he uses active. So he actually, funny enough, he's kind of in this same type of category with Brother Burchard, where he hits really, really hard on his active, and then he's really, really tanky, but after that he doesn't do a lot of damage. This at least makes him useful after he does his damage, because he's just going to buff with his passive, which is a pretty good change. He did get a buff a couple patches ago that made him do extra damage, so they're slowly working on him, and he's slowly starting to creep up. I'm seeing him more and more often, even before this change in Arena, and I think this change is going to just make it so you continue to see even more and more of him. So another of the Battle Brothers, this should have a little dot here. They increase the range on his banner by 1. Let's go look at him. He's obviously the guy with the banner, which is this guy, I believe. Okay. So they increase this range, which ignores battle fatigue, and then counts as having the final vengeance with final attacks dealing 20 damage. So basically increase the range. So again, he's just going to continue to be a buffer. More range is going to make him better, but I don't know if it's, again, something that's going to make him become a unit that you're going to see a lot. All right, and then we have some nerfs a little bit. So this is an interesting nerf. Calendus, they nerfed her armor by 18%, so just making her a little bit more squishy. Don't think it really is going to affect her that much. Her role is still to hit like a truck. Makes her maybe a little bit more of a glass cannon, but again, she also has her active ability, which makes her really, really hard to kill on the turn you use it with ranged attacks. So I still think she's going to fill the same role, and I don't think this changes. Now this is interesting. It increased power score by 30%. So I guess they weren't satisfied with what her power score rating was compared to how actually good in the game she is. So for some reason they decided to increase that power score. So doesn't affect, as it says here, doesn't affect the gameplay at all. It just, what it does affect is your total power score. So if you just randomly got a big jump up and just like hadn't played since the update and then just like all of a sudden like leveled up and you're like, why? Well, that's probably why. Celestine, they debuffed. Sorry, they nerfed the health on her summons, so this will make her a little bit squishier. Could have an effect on how much you see her, but she's still gonna be, I think, pretty powerful. You still can't really one-shot her, and she still has the ability to like jump around on the second turn and just basically kill something. Not a huge nerf, I think, but a little bit of nerf. And then a nerf to the Swarm. The Scarab Swarm is minus 10 damage. Again, I don't think that's a big nerf. I think a lot of these nerfs, actually, you'll see a little bit affect live arena a little bit more than overall gameplay. The Scarab Swarm's hitting a little bit harder, or a little bit weaker, sorry. I don't think will be that big of a deal in regular play, but maybe in live arena, that 10% damage nerf is enough to, affect whether you bring Aleph Null or not. And same thing with Celestine. I have a feeling it won't be that big of a deal, but we'll have to see, especially on this upcoming live arena. Alright, and then they reduce the number of coins rewarded by certain missions and power level ups. That kind of stinks, in my opinion. By coins, it means this. Once you start getting your high level upgrades and like upgrading your guys, into like gold and legendary for abilities, this gets quite pricey, and gold actually becomes kind of an issue. So reducing the amount of gold or coins or whatever that we get, not a big fan of that. That seems like a nerf for no reason and just to make stuff harder. And then the other things down here aren't really that big of a deal, just some stuff not working correctly that they fix. But all in all, guys, that's it for this. I just wanted to go through the update, get a video out because it's been a while. But some big changes to some of the characters, so I wanted to cover that and then cover some of the new stuff we got coming in. Hopefully, my take on Morgan Raw and what that event's going to be, hopefully that'll leave some fears that some people had that. I don't know if a lot of people had some fears, but I know in my guild a lot of people were like, oh, you're probably going to be locked behind a paywall and all that stuff. I don't think that's going to be the case. Like, I'm 99% sure that's not the case. Hopefully I'm right and the 1% doesn't show up, but I really feel like this is just going to be the same as all the other paths that we've had for the Eldari characters. You're going to unlock this character. It's just probably not going to unlock at legendary level, and that's okay, because you're getting the character, and you can work on the character just like you can work on anything else. A lot of the key to this game is getting the character first, and then you can start, focusing and leveling up that character and stuff. So, and And with that, guys, as always, if you like my videos, please subscribe. We are sitting at, I think, 244 videos, or sorry, 244 subscribers, not videos. We did kind of plateau right around this 240 mark. Obviously, part of that's, well, a big chunk of that is that I haven't been getting some videos pushed out, so that is totally my fault. But we are sitting at 244. As I've been saying the last few videos, if we get to 250, or I should say when we get to 250, we will be doing another giveaway. It'll be the same as my last two giveaways, guys. It'll be a $30 card for either Apple or the Google Play Store, whatever you play. That way you can, maybe spend $30 in this game or do whatever you want with it. But $30 will fully unlock one of the campaigns if you don't have any of the characters or stuff, or maybe spend it on Blackstones or that kind of stuff. But that's what the giveaway will be at. And as soon as we get to 250, I'll put up a video for that giveaway, and on how to enter and all that stuff. But you will need to be subscribed to my channel to enter. So if you do enjoy my content and you want to be part of said giveaway, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And with that, guys, as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.